Hello, and welcome to the Monday night guest stream. I'm Ricky,
I'm Adam.
and today we're joined by Justin. Uh,
Hello.
Mhm.
uh,
Hi, I'll wave like that.
Wait,
You can't see me
Justin's
right now.
hand. You can see Justin's
Yeah,
hand.
so, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
sure. My name is Justin Castaneda. I am a comic artist and book illustrator from Chicago's South Side. So um, I've been doing, I've been drawing since I was a kid. And then right around a decade or so, I decided to turn it into a profession. So I've been making comics and children's books for a little over 10 years now. And yeah, I just kind of dive into a bunch of different things and have a YouTube channel, and I post a lot of art on Instagram. So if you're curious of, what I do, you can look that up too. So, but yeah, that's kind of it. I mean,
Okay,
yeah,
and as you could probably notice, Justin is gonna actually be drawing whilst we're chatting. So,
yeah,
we're currently looking for a suggestion. If anyone wants to make a
yeah. I think
suggestion.
Adam said he had one,
Yeah, I
but
wanted to wait and see if any of the audience
okay,
wanted to throw anything out, but
sure, yeah.
I'll give him like 10 seconds to throw up a
Don't
There
forget,
suggestion.
you
there's
go.
a
Or else,
little bit of a delay. So,
yeah, or else Adam gets dibs, which is fine.
um, so yeah, so like obviously we invited you on because we've seen your work on
Mhm.
Instagram and stuff. So, I
Thank
guess
you.
first thing we wanted to ask was how did you get into comics and drawing and art?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, I did start drawing when I was very little, and I actually got into self-publishing was sort of my in because um, there's no like real secret back door or even like steps to get into comics or even break into the industry. It's just a matter of doing it, right? So
Yeah,
you say you're a
yeah.
comic artist, then make a comic. Um, and my way was through children's books. I actually got hired right out of college to illustrate a children's book for a kindergarten teacher, and it was a very interesting process because I could tell that this was her first time sort of handling authors and like being an author and handling working with an illustrator, and it was really like my first real illustration gig um, outside of just regular freelance. And it was in that process of making that book and really figuring out what I wanted to do with it and how to design it and lay out the whole thing. I realized it was kind of fun and easy. And I was like, oh, I can make a book like this. So um, that's what happened. I started writing children's books based on my childhood as a way to sort of remember all the things I did when I was a kid. So I did a picture book series called When I Was Little. And it was like four different books over the course of the last like 7 or 8 years. But that was sort of my way into comics because then, right around the time I started, uh, wanting to promote it because I self-published it, I put it out myself. Um, there like kid-friendly content wasn't really that popular back then.
Mm.
So I kind of was riding the wave of like really more well-known comic artists like Art Balthazar and Katie Cook and stuff. So I kind of got in the tailwind of that and started promoting my children's books at comic book shows. And because that was so kind of new at the time, at least how from my perspective, I felt like it was pretty successful in that way because rather than seeing a bunch of comics with superheroes, there's this guy at a table, promoting a children's book. And like those children's books were very appealing to all ages because it was
Mm.
about remembering your childhood and also being very whimsical in terms of the illustration and the content. So that was sort of the way I broke into comics. And then ever since then, I actually got to work with Art and Franco on some of their comics. And that was sort of the way into making my own books as well. So Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my way of getting into the industry, I guess you could say. And I've done some things for that since then that have been published and etc. So
Okay.
It's always cool, like hearing the way people get into things. It's always interesting. We do have a request already popped up, so someone's beat me to it now.
oh, okay. What's the request? I'm nervous.
It's Jinx.
No, he was saying Jinx because I
sorry,
asked
change
if
my
it was a suggestion, but they've now come back as me as Cyborg. But if Adam gives you his suggestion as well, I'm gonna go.
Mine was Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo. Hey, I like Mojo Jojo. I don't
figured-
remember the last time I drew Mojo Jojo.
But
And,
yeah, Ricky's Cyborg would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, as soon as you said Balthazar, I love Tiny Titans. It's
Yeah, yeah,
good. I love the Teen Titans Go and the Teen Titans series as well.
yeah.
You don't need to be a parent to watch that stuff, but
No.
it's an excuse.
Yeah, Art's a cool guy. He's very yeah, he just loves comics and loves Superman, and yeah, you should try to get him on the show. He's real fun. He's real fun to talk to.
You'll have to reach out.
Yeah.
So
So wait, okay, I gotta make sure it's Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls, right?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I was not Mojo from Mojo World.
No.
Mojo would be pretty cool as well.
But
Okay.
Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls, I think Adam was.
Yeah, let's play with that because I have my, this is like watercolor paper, so maybe I'll throw on some watercolors too, and let's see if I can finish it in an hour.
So like it's funny that because I've been following you on my own Instagram for quite a while, and like I remember from years ago now
Yeah.
that you're saying about children's books, but one of the first things I remember of your drawing was from Hollywood Babylon.
Yes. Okay. Wow, you're that's like deep cuts right there.
Yeah.
Thank you for following since that's so long ago. Which drawing in particular?
It's Give That Penis a Sandwich.
You know what? That is so funny because I recently moved and I was moving a bunch of art and that drawing literally like fell out of the pile and I was like, wow, Give That Penis a Sandwich. That's like 10 years old. Yeah, that's nuts that you mentioned that. And yeah, it did have a very cartoony style to it. So yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, so
Deep cuts there.
But like that's back from when Instagram would actually show you what you wanted to see. So like I was
Right.
following a load of comic book artists and
Oh, cool.
you would see a load of stuff. You'd see everything they were posting. Now Instagram just kind of shows you snippets, doesn't it, rather than a full timeline.
Yeah, I know. I hate that it does that. That whole algorithm thing really messed it up for a lot of people. But
Yeah.
what can you do? There's so many avenues now to share your art. It's insane.
Because back then you were doing all of the cardboard sketches, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. I actually have one here. But like I don't think because my lighting in my studio is kind of bad, like you could see there's like a really hard shadow here.
Yeah.
I don't think it would really appear, the pencils would appear nicely on the cardboard while drawing. But yeah, I do have cardboard sketches here, so maybe if I finish this I'll get to one. But yeah, the cardboard sketch, that's kind of the other thing I was known for when I first started out.
I actually own one from when Sock came over to Lexington and met you. I think
Oh yeah, okay.
you actually drew us too.
Wait, which one was it?
The Button Men from the book that we wrote with Mark Sock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
You probably can't see now, but I've got two knitted versions of us just
but
at the
like
end of my head.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I did draw you guys at one time, right?
yeah. Yeah,
That seems to be another kind of modus operandi for me. Is I end up drawing people like, hey, could you draw me, or hey, could you draw my kid? But yeah, that's funny. Oh man, Sock he's great. That's kind of like our mutual friend, huh?
yeah. Well, yeah. Sock was obviously got to give thanks to him for putting us into contact with each other.
Yeah, for sure.
So the other things we usually ask is uh, what what's your preferred methods? Are you like we could see you drawing with pencil and got paints out, but for
Yeah.
like your work, is it all traditional or do you dabble in digital as well?
So a lot of the books that I have done were traditional, and even up to my most recent book, which is called The Murder Balloon.
Yeah.
Which is my sort of homage to an 80s slasher film, but it's also done like a children's book. So it was like this weird hybrid thing, and that was all traditional with like digital coloring. Now, the comic series that I do with Victor Dandridge, he and I are the co-creators of this kid-friendly comic called Wonder Care Presents the Kinderguardians. And it's essentially Justice League meets the Muppet Babies. And it's about, kid superheroes learning how to deal with being superheroes and being kids at the same time. And that is done all traditionally. So I dabble in both. I think my favorite is traditional, just because there is. I mean, I know you can replicate textured looks now in the computer, but yeah, I like working traditionally just because there's something about it. I mean, I don't mind digital, but traditional is kind of where it's at for me. So I'm just gonna dive in here and really play, just see what happens.
You I mean, you like working on cardboard and obviously on watercolor and things like that as well. Do you find cardboard? Do you like working on cardboard, or do you just find the effect is worth the trouble?
I like the effect, and that was kind of the reason why I started doing. One of the reasons why I started doing it was because of the effect and the fact that you can use white as a color. And my number one, like you talk to Justin Stewart or anyone, that we're friends with, you'll know that like the thing I get asked the most on Instagram is, what do you use for the white? And it's, it's just a simple white ink pen. But the fact that I can use white really makes the drawings stand out, and sort of the way the ink rubs against the cardboard creates a really organic look to it, very texturized. And that's just something that I personally dig.
So is there any preferred like pens, pencils and stuff like that? Because people do ask these kinds of questions.
Yeah, and it's so great that I have my camera set up because I can just show you while I'm working on this. But this I use to ink. This is a Pilot G2 fine line pen with a .38 tip, so it's very thin. It makes really thin lines. So I use this for my inking. I just kind of like the ballpoint texture or the ballpoint feel. But then for like the heavy darks, I'll use a Pentel pocket brush. So I don't really go too deep or, in terms of art supplies, like whatever gets the best result for me. Like I don't have a subscription to jet pens. I'm not trying out all these different pens. It's just whatever works,
Yeah.
And then, those are my main two. And then, like, even with watercolors, like, this is just like a simple watercolor set that I got. A Sakura watercolor set. Just, whatever gets the job done, I guess.
We were saying this to Justin before. You've probably seen it, stories from artists as well. Those people get really angry that they don't understand that you haven't got a magic pen or a magic paintbrush set that makes you draw that way. It's practice,
Right.
practice, practice. People are always trying to find the shortcut, I guess, and trying to replicate somebody's work and not understand that it's just kind of, like, without sounding too deep, like the heart leading the hand. It's
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. Like, yeah, it's all about you, and kind of not like a special pen's not going to make you draw better. It's practice, like you said. 100% agree.
As I look at a pile of paintbrushes next to me.
Hey, whatever works, right? And it's good to experiment. It's good to try it out. Like, I think the idea of finding the tools that you like and really get you the effect that you want, there's nothing wrong with that. And like, that's totally cool to have a variety to pick from. Like, I have a variety of like different pens that I can go to. Just the ones that I'm more comfortable with, I know I get the result that I want. So
I have hundreds of me and Ricky writes. I have hundreds of notebooks. We both have hundreds of notebooks, but I have all around my house. I could probably find biros and fiber tip pens, brush pens, pens, italic pens, the things that I want to write at the moment with.
Yeah.
While Ricky was still, while Ricky was typing things up and scripts up, I was still writing on scraps of paper.
Oh, nice.
That's how I'd get my ideas down. Got a little bit stunted by.
I've got a pile of notebooks with about 7 pages or 8 pages each written in them, and it's like it lives in my bag. I used to live in my bag for a bit, and then I take it out to write some notes in it, and then leave it in the house. And then the next time I get something that come to me while I'm out and about, I haven't got my notebook, so I've just got like loads of notebooks where I've started, but
and haven't finished.
Yeah, so we're having a request. Oh, thank you, Kieran, for the sub, El Diabito, and we've got a question to make make your picture larger. So I've got that bigger now, so that people can see the Mojo Jojo.
Okay.
It's just I've given you your screen priority, so that's what they're seeing now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we totally get that. And so what were the types of comics that you used to buy when you were younger, and the characters that got you into this?
How did you discover the comic books? What was it?
How did I discover comic books? I have 2 older brothers, and they're nerds. That's how.
Sounds like good people.
Yeah, they are. Actually, all joking aside, like they kind of fed into my fandoms a little bit. And there used to be a comic shop by our house growing up, and they would do like a subscription service, and they would just get comics like in the mail all the time, and they would order like 1 or 2 books for me. So I thought that was very thoughtful, and like I didn't have a say in what those books were, but I clearly remember a Ren and Stimpy book.
Oh yeah.
In issue 1, and I think Marvel put those out back in the day. I could be wrong. And then the another big one was the Archie Team and T books. Mm-hmm. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of my ultimate fandom, and those books and really the cartoon and stuff, they got me into reading comics. And then everything else, like when I was in college, I started kind of figuring out my own flavor and what I was into and stuff. But I like a lot of indie books. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is my way into pretty much everything: movies, TV, cartoons, and comics. So yeah, my brothers were the ones who were kind of really into XMen and DC and all that stuff, and I liked the Turtles. So
nothing wrong with that. They were quite not subversive, but they were under the radar, weren't they? I mean, and they got a lot of people's attention.
They did. It's insane how and that's kind of the goal for me in terms of creating stuff, is like I want to create something that has the life and longevity of like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because it's a generational thing. Like people grow up with it, and then they introduce their kids to it, and it just keeps going. And I like that. I like that a lot.
So
something to aspire to.
That must mean you're around about the same age as us, because I remember Turtles being one of the first things that I was into when I was a kid, and how big it was. That and Ghostbusters. So
oh, for sure, yeah. Ghostbusters is. Are you guys excited that there's a new movie?
I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I like the people who were in it, so
yeah.
I went to watch the last one. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't hate on it like everyone online.
Yeah, for sure. I felt the same way. I thought it was a nice, and a good try.
Yeah, it was a good try. It wasn't for me, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just wasn't for me.
Right. I know if fandom is so toxic sometimes, but
and that's where I'm at with something. If I don't like something these days, I just tend not to comment on it. There is one
for sure.
There's one exception, but
wait, what's the exception?
The Snyder Cut, but that's not the Snyder Cut, the Snyder DC stuff. But that isn't because, like, I try not to, but then we've got a friend who nags us about it and tells us, "Oh, you're not giving it the right amount," and it's like, it's not for me, and I don't like how.
We've got quite a few friends actually do that.
And I don't like how vocal they are, to the point that they think that now that they got that released, that they're entitled to force that opinion. But like,
I know, right?
If you enjoy it, it's up to you, and all the better for you. But it's not for me.
No, I get it. I mean, I like the Snyder cut, but I hate how we got there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, because now all these entitled people are like, "See, I told you so," and it's like, okay, can't you just like the movie and
exactly,
and be done with it?
Exactly. If you liked it, it's fine. That's up to you. Yeah. But I don't need to hear it for the next 4 years. That now that we've had the Snyder Cut, we should have the Ayer cut of the Suicide Squad. That movie was bad.
Yeah.
If you like it, that's great. But how about we just have something new instead? Like, I'm looking forward to the James Gunn version.
Yes.
Right.
I had to fast forward through the Suicide Squad. I think my sister had it on DVD, and I thought, no, I'll give it a chance. It's with me. I may as well. I couldn't. I had to fast forward it. It was just kind of, it hurt my head. About childhoods, and we were saying about growing up on things. I have to confess, I was the weird kid. I was apparently. I don't remember this. I remember it a bit, but more through other people's memories. I would wear a Batman costume 24/7. My mother would have to fight me to get it off of me, and my Batmobile was this multicolored plastic pedal tractor, scoop at the front, and I would just go around hell for leather in this pedal along tractor, thinking I was Batman.
That's awesome.
Sam says she wanted a refund after watching Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
What are you? Sorry.
Go on, Adam.
I was just going to ask you what are you reading at the moment, if anything.
What am I reading at the moment? That is a great question. So, I actually am. I never finished Sweet Tooth, the comic.
Right.
And now that the show is out and all these people are talking about it, which is great, I decided to go back and finish it. So I'm actually reading through Sweet Tooth right now. And trying to think, what else am I reading? So I mean, well, let me. I'm using the ballpoint pen now for like little details and stuff like that. Sorry, I just like to talk.
I'm distracted by what you're drawing as well. I'm enjoying what you're saying, and I'm trying to think of questions.
Right.
I'm just watching what
Right.
you're doing as well.
I know. Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe this is a bad idea because
No,
I
it's
just
a great idea.
focus. But again, just talking about my process, like, you know, this is kind of a pro tip for any artist out there. Like, just, and I tell this to the kids that I teach, like, just move the paper. Don't try to move your hand because then you get this stuff going on. You get the smear. So rather than position your hand in an awkward way when you want to make an ink line or whatever, just move the paper. And if you have the ability to move the paper, I can't speak from like painting on a canvas, but just move the paper. It's fine. So yeah, I'm reading Sweet Tooth right now, and I just finished. God, what is it called? I just finished the first volume of Strange Academy, the Doctor Strange Harry Potter kind of mashup. Yeah, so that's kind of what's been on my kind of current reads at the moment.
Cool. I've been reading the Teen Titans stuff as well. It's recently done. I don't know if they just caught wind of it or not, but they're also doing a similar thing. Strange Academy's fun. Anything with Ramos's art in is always going to be good.
Yeah. You're talking about influences earlier. He's one of them.
Really?
Yeah, Ramos. I mean, we're like the same. Like we're around the same age, so I think we probably have similar tastes in artists. But yeah, Ramos was a big one, and Scotty Young, and I really like Sarah Pichelli. She's the she created Miles Morales, and I'm
I follow her on Facebook. Her stuff is just I love her work. Her sketchbook stuff.
Yeah,
it just flows so well.
And that's sort of my favorite. You know, sometimes like when I'm drawing stuff for clients, and I'll lay down a lot of pencil. I like seeing the construction lines. Like I like keeping all that stuff in there, just because I think you know, artists that we like, their sketchbook work is so like you're what you're seeing in those lines is their creative process. You're seeing them think on paper, and to me, I think that's great for anyone who's wanting to pick up a pencil. I think it's great to see that. Like sometimes, you know, the idea of having a completed, fully inked and whatever, like rendered drawing, and it has to look clean, and it has to look, and that's kind of my problem with digital too, is like it looks too clean. And you know, obviously there's textures and things in, you know, that you can incorporate to give it that look that was done on paper. But yeah, I'm a big fan of seeing your thought process on paper, because not a lot of times you can, as we're seeing now, like you can't really talk and draw, which I'm trying to do. But I like seeing the process, and she's great. Her stuff is great.
So it works so well. I've got his name. Ben Caldwell. His work, you'd see like the crayon, not the crayon, the wax on the pencil he used, and you see the guidelines for the eyes and stuff, and it would look perfect if it didn't have that, but there's just something about it. I've got the big hardback edition of the Wednesday comics that came out a decade ago now, and his stuff is in there, and I love that stuff.
He's great. Yeah, Sean Galloway's in that too. Mm-hmm. Cheeks.
Yes.
So yeah, those are kind of the artists that I like. I like Jeff Smith, like, and Jeff Lemire, like, because it's a wide range of art styles, and the older I get, the more I'm into like artists that really push shape in their work, and something that I grew up with. So like thinking about, you know, Gennady Tarkovsky and Samurai Jack, and like even, you know, the Powerpuff Girls and stuff, like Craig McCracken and all that. Like that's influenced my art style so much.
Well, I
And
kind of went with Mojo when the moment you said sketch stuff before we came on. I was like, Mojo.
yeah,
As Sam in the chat has said, she loves seeing sketches more than the final artwork, and echoes of Raven is also saying, I like seeing artist sketches. But like I was gonna say about sometimes like that's the benefit of getting like a trade, because you see the work process in the back. Sometimes you see the pencils and things like that, and then
Concepts.
yeah, and you know when it's something, say I think it's you've got pencil work in the back of the Ultimates books, and
yeah,
you look at how polished like the finished artwork is, and then you go in and see like Hitch's pencils and everything there, and it's like night and day sometimes, isn't it? It's like, how did that get to that point of polish? They both look great, but it is just like great to see how something went from that to that kind of thing.
right, yeah, because you're like it's I think when I was younger and I would just look at like art that way, I thought it was magic. Like just looking at a Norman Rockwell painting, or
Yes.
like weird, like how did like just really looking at the strokes, like you can see kind of the paint strokes and everything, and it's, I don't know, like that stuff was fascinating to me. So
Yeah.
I think that's why I gravitated towards art, and how it informed, and like that stuff really informed my style of like, see every line, like why not,
I totally agree with you. We're blessed to go into different, lucky to go to different galleries and see it. You go up close to the painting and you see the thing that made the image. You see those what look like random brush strokes, but they make a water lily, or they make an archway or something like that. I was explaining that to my daughter, does art a lot, and I was saying about that kind of
fantastic.
almost that it's not a paradigm shift. It's that, but it's a change in thought process. You realize that's how something's built. As a kid, you realize it is just the bits and pieces.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Ricky.
No, Sam in the chat is saying that she hasn't drawn in a long time. Her major influence is Akira Toriyama with all his Dragon Ball work.
Nice.
But yeah, like I was gonna say, like you mentioned, what I found was when I first got into comics, I was looking at stuff like like hyper realistic, I guess, stuff of, and I still like it, like Jim Lee and Hitch and stuff like that. But as time has gone on, I find myself gravitating more to like the cartoony style. So like, or like a more, no, like angular, like you were saying, like the kind
Stylized.
of stylized stuff like Bacalo
Samurai
and
Jack.
Samurai Jack. Oh, have you seen Primal? Seeing as you mentioned it, Gendy, have you seen? Oh my god!
I love Primal. Like my two favorite animated things within the last like 2 years or whatever has been Primal and the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And like there are shows now that are biting that sort of kinetic animation with the shape, like all the shapes they put in both of those shows, and just that energy is like, I don't know, it's again, it's like it's magical to me, like it's crazy good. But yes, I loved Primal, and I'm hoping he continues to make that, because man, like again, it seems like he's kind of borrowing from his influence of like samurai films and Kurosawa, where like there's very little dialogue, and he's just telling the story with
visuals.
With visuals, and it's so fun to watch. And I didn't think he could make something that bloody and violent, and it's great.
I'm still behind.
Sure.
I haven't got up on it yet, but I do want to.
It just gets better as it goes along as well. So like, you probably haven't seen some of the better episodes of it if you haven't caught up with it.
Yeah.
Because that second half of the first season, it just takes what was already an amazing show and just goes another
Yeah.
level with like the sick dinosaur episode.
Yeah. Yeah. The zombie dinosaur.
Yeah.
Like so good. Like just came out of nowhere. But yeah, you should definitely catch up on that. It's so awesome.
It's usually by the time something comes out. By the time I get my hands on it, it's already a remastered, re-release version of it. So, but I'm catching up. I'm picking up speed now. One show I really enjoy because it's concepts in it are just great, and again, there's a feel, a different feel to the art. Is Love, Death, and Robots. I don't know if
Oh,
you've
nice.
got out on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen people talk about that. I have not. I have that Netflix problem where I put stuff in my queue and then I don't ever watch it.
Oh yeah,
It's genuinely
I do that all the time.
It's they are just concept pieces. They're short stories or threads of ideas. Some of the CG is in the new season. Excuse me. In the new season, they try and a lot of it is very surreal. But there's an episode a little short in the first season where it's almost you can't tell if it's live action actors.
Oh, really?
CG on their faces, or if it's just uncanny, unbelievably good CG. It's the concepts they explore as well that invite the style that they're presented in, and you can see people's influences, in that. I think.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Highly recommend it.
Okay. I'll check it out.
Along with something.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that like the even the misses are worth having a watch.
Yeah, some of them
some of them aren't as good and don't stick with you, but it's still not a waste of time kind of thing.
Right.
But we normally ask some fun questions, so this is where we normally Adam normally comes up with something.
Yeah. Okay. So we tend to probe when we're asking certain questions so we know, because we don't always ask the same questions. I've asked some brutal questions before.
Oh, okay.
It's usually a versus question.
A what question? A versus?
A versus question. So
okay.
It's Leo, Raph, Donatello, and Michelangelo. Who would win?
Oh God.
You can reason it out if you want. You can just call your favorite. We won't judge you. We won't judge you too much.
I think I'd be rooting for Raph because he's my favorite. I mean, technically, my favorite is Casey Jones, but he's not a turtle.
Yeah.
I would be rooting for Raph, but there's a reason Leo's the leader, and he balances the. Raph would just get angry, and
they would use that anger against him.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I think I'm done with this. Anyone? How'd that turn out?
That looks amazing.
Just playing around with it, but we can keep going. I'm all for drawing. What else you got? Anyone else in the comments?
Well,
I know
Simon asked something.
Yeah. So let's throw it up. Anyone in the chat wanna suggest a second one?
Everyone's just going, woo, Mojo.
They love in the Mojo Jojo.
Yeah.
In the chat.
So yeah, I would say Leo would still win, even though Raphael's my favorite.
Yeah.
Sam's thrown out. That's bad in English. Tanjiro from Demon Slayer.
Okay, I will say I can't. My anime is not as great as it used to be, but I will try. That seems to be the new thing, right? Demon Slayer.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. The first season is a strange one because it seems to flow pretty well for a while. It kind of holds itself in place, and then it picks up, and then it just has about 5 epilogue episodes. but there's something about it. I'm sure there's
I'm gonna
scenes
go
where they've
see.
rotoscoped stuff in.
Yeah.
There's a scene where Flash or Memory, a character has, and it's of their father doing a fire dance, and I swear to goodness, it's a rotoscope dance. Which.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
That goes straight over my head. My
Rotoscope, when you draw over people, you
oh
take
no, I
it.
know rotoscope because Scanner
okay.
Darkly.
Yes. I was like, oh my gosh, Ricky doesn't know rotoscoping.
No, I know rotoscope then because of things like Scanner Darkly and Polar Express must have used it for that creepy Uncanny Valley train stuff.
No, I think that was just mocap.
Is it?
And just it's all Tom. I was gonna say Tom Cruise then, because that'd be really creepy. Can you imagine him as Santa Claus?
Yeah, he'd outrun the sleigh.
You'd be pulling the Polar Express.
He would be. Okay, so yeah, I'll be. Who requested this? Sam.
Sam.
Okay, Sam. I'm gonna try my best, but I have not watched Demon Slayer yet, so
another one to add to your never-ending collection of Netflix stuff.
Yeah, right. Is it on Netflix?
Yeah,
I'll watch it if it's on Netflix. It is? Oh, dang.
It's on Netflix UK anyway.
Oh yes, yeah. I forget.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'll Google it now.
But yeah, I get what you mean with the whole. I've got a list on Netflix. I add to it, and then I end up just watching. I'll watch Scott Pilgrim again.
Yeah, you just kind of fall. Well, that's the thing of it. It's like it's comfort food. You fall back on the things that will make you feel better. If you're having a bad day or something, you're just like, oh, maybe I'll try something new. But it's like, well, I know I'll enjoy watching this again.
Well, that's a good question, actually. I was mulling that over, actually. What are your influences? Like, what are your
well, judging by your stories, I'm going to guess that it's 80s action films.
So you've been watching that, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that has been my comfort food for the last year and a half. Is I've been diving into the buddy cop genre, and I've been watching a lot of 80s and 90s action films. Some I haven't seen in a while, and some are just kind of classics. And I mean, that stuff definitely influences me in terms of like that kind of genre. But as far as like other stuff goes, I'm not just influenced by muscle bound 80s action movies, even though they are really great. But yeah, I like a lot. I try to kind of like a variety of things, but I will say like anime is something that I'm a kind of a late bloomer on. I didn't really discover it, or I guess I could say, or really get into it until I was in college, and that was like right around the big boom of those kinds of animes. So like Evangelion and Cowboy Bebop and Trigun, like all the kind of classics.
I got into Trigun really late. It's on Netflix, so me and my daughter watching it. I bought her the box set of Bebop.
Oh, nice.
We just chomped through that so quickly. It's just, well, you know what it's like. It's just so good.
Yeah. Are you guys excited for the live action?
Yes. Yeah. I like the fact that they're not quite washing it either. That they're a multi-cultured cast. It just, I mean, and I forgot the actor's name. Is it John Cho?
John Cho, yeah, the great John Cho.
Like, man.
Very, very inspired casting, I thought.
Yeah.
When they announced that it was him, I was like, that makes so much sense to me right now.
Totally. He's just so smooth, I think that's gonna rock. I mean, I'm hoping that we get an Ed and we get a 9 as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But I guess that might come later. No, I am. I keep forgetting about that because obviously he was put on hiatus with him breaking his leg. and now with COVID as well, I think they finished Principal.
Yeah, and they just announced that the composer from the original show is doing all the music.
Really? Oof.
Yeah. So you're gonna get all the real folk blues, and it's gonna be wonderful. So that's exciting.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I'm really far behind with like anime and stuff. Like I think
Ricky's still on Dragon Ball Z.
I was just about to say that was probably like that was the one that I watched when I was younger. But,
Sure.
And then I think I made a deal with either Adam or my my friend Becky.
Both of us.
That I would try some of the Ghibli stuff, and I gotta say, really enjoyed it. But still,
good. Which ones did you watch?
I watched Spirited Away, Ponyo, Princess Mononoke, My Neighbor Totoro, and what was the other one I had to watch?
I think it might be not had to watch. Excuse me. I think it was The Cat Returns or
okay.
Or Howl.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah, I've seen bits of Howl.
The only film I won't watch of theirs is Grave of the Fireflies.
Yeah, that one's kind of a slog.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I know, Sam, I know it's a brilliant film, but I know how it ends and I'm not watching it because I don't want to cry. More than I normally do with films. I watched Onward the other day and I was a bucket of tears.
Oh, nice. Have you guys seen Luca yet?
No, I thought it was a little short, and it's been popping up on Disney Plus, and I was like, do I? I don't know.
It's so, like, I was talking to Justin Stewart about it the other day, and I said, what? Like, it's not as deep as some of the other ones in terms of the themes. Like, it doesn't make you question your purpose on this earth, like Soul or anything.
Yeah.
But it's truly a very wonderful movie about the power of friendship. And like sometimes that's the simplest thing is the most effective. And like I was like by the end of the movie, I was like in tears. I was like, this is so good. And it's so simple. It's just about these two guys, these two kids, and they're just having this adventure. And it's like, it's just so wonderful. Like I was so surprised by it. And because I honestly didn't think it would be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So give that a watch if you can. It's really good.
Of the two of us, of me and my daughter, I'm the one that watches most Pixar and Disney movies.
I'm
completely aware that. I mean, I was saying the other day, I watched Onward, and then after that, I watched the entire film, enjoyed it, and then I put Moana on, and I like Moana. I skipped all the songs I really enjoy, and that sequence at the end, where she's walking towards Te Fiti. And it's all in slow motion. That's just, you don't need to make a live action film because it'd ruin it, but that's just so worthy of anything, you know.
They'll make a live action at some point.
Yeah, as long as they have Aului maybe play Moana, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
We do have a question pop up as well.
Yeah, is there any I was gonna say, is there any like questions from the stream? Any art related questions? Any?
Yes, a perfect one actually from Kurtor Angelus. Might have missed the beginning of the stream. They were wondering how long you've been drawing for.
Okay, I have been drawing. I think. Okay, I can't pick a. I've been drawing since I was, like in kindergarten. So I don't know how old that or how long that is. So I'm just gonna say I've been drawing since like I was a kid. And that was sort of the whole, you know, kind of hook of those books that I wrote is, you know, I did all these things when I was little, and drawing was definitely one of them. So if I had to put a number on it, I'm going to say 5 or 6. But I didn't really consider it a profession until high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of the same with writing. We were like, we want to make money from this. How do you make money from this? And then you're suddenly doing it. Not making money from it, but realizing that eventually you can. Everyone wants me to be a Disney princess now as well in the comments. That's for another stream, perhaps.
Wait, they're calling you a Disney princess?
They're asking for me to be drawn by you as a Disney princess.
But it started because they called him a Disney princess because he was saying about how much Disney he watches.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, if you guys have me back, maybe that'll be the warm-up sketch for my return visit.
What's the other fun questions we usually do then, Adam?
Well, there are a few that we used to use on in other things, like who was your comic book crush? Who did you fall in love with, or which characters did you fall in love with? Which ones have you not been able to get over?
Oh, that's interesting. Comic book crush. Wow.
Are you willing to confess?
I mean, I don't, and I think I don't follow up with this character, so I'm not really I don't know what she does now or if she's even alive or whatever. But I always liked Jubilee, and that was just because she was an Asian American, and she was like the name is cool. Yeah. Like her name literally is like a celebration, yeah. And I always thought that was a cool idea for like a cool name for a character. And I also liked her powers, and I like the way she was. Like I like the way Jim Lee drew her in the '90s X-Men run, yeah. And they adapted that for the X-Men cartoon. Yeah, and I would say Jubilee is up there. She's pretty great.
She's a vampire now with a son.
What?
Yeah, I know that went through you. She became a vampire about maybe 10 years ago, and I don't know if she still is, but last time I heard about it, she's kind of like Blade, in that she is a vampire, but somehow she's able to walk in the sun as much as she wants to.
You became a daywalker? Wow.
Yeah, and she has a little baby called Shoujo, who was amazing in a big crossover.
Shoujo, run. Cool. Yeah,
little.
Do they say where the kid came from? Like, do
no,
they know
I don't.
I think it was a baby she rescued.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
His guardian. She stole him from Japan.
Wow.
And he's a possible superhero or villain from the future, who looks like Iron Man. He wears like a suit.
But that was from Brian Wood's run. Yeah. Which was a few years ago now.
Holy cow. I did not know she was a vampire. That blew my mind.
I went through no problem. I went through a phase of reading all of Chris Claremont's in reprints. Chris Claremont's essential X-Men run from Giant Size up to his end in the 90s, just as Jim Lee was on. And you get to see the origins of the characters, and Jubilee's one is just fantastic because she just basically hitches a ride with them while they're hiding out in the outback, and she wants to be one of the X-Men, and she's just trying all their clothes on, and that's how she ended up looking like a little bit of a new wave punk thing, She just didn't know who she wanted to be.
Yeah.
Jubilee's stuck with me as well.
That's crazy.
When people say that she's not a good character.
Yeah, I think she's cool. She just hasn't been properly used in the live action sense.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. People say her name once, perhaps, or there's a kid that clearly looks like her. She's wearing a big old yellow raincoat. That's it. Yeah.
I think it might be one of those things of, like the Ewoks, in if you born before a certain time, you don't like her. If you're born after a certain time, you do, because like.
Oh, maybe.
Because it's that thing of. She was. When I got into X-Men because of the comic, because of the cartoon, and
sure.
So she was one of the X-Men as far as I knew, one of the main X-Men. But then someone who's older might think, oh, she just rubbish version of blah 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 or something along those
She's
lines.
the newer version of Kitty Pryde for sure, but I think she just like Kitty Pryde, she's coming to her own easily. Maybe she's not as well used, but we do have other questions actually about that. Now we've gone on to X-Men. Who are your favorite X-Men
Apart from Jubilee.
apart from Jubilee?
Apart from Jubilee, I was a big fan of Gambit.
Don't say that, Rick, you'll faint.
Oh, really?
No, I'm a big fan of Gambit and Rogue as well.
Yeah, Gambit. Oh man, but like my
cartoon.
my sort of love for Gambit came from I knew he was in the cartoon and he had that really funny French accent and the Mon Ami and all that. But my thing was the Marvel vs. Capcom 2, the video game. And his special was where he throws the 52 pickup, where he throws all the cards.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, you combine that with like the Hadouken. It's pretty powerful. But yeah, I like the art style of that too. And I'd say Gambit and I don't know, people will probably give me a lot of flack for it, but I actually like Cyclops. I think Cyclops is awesome.
I dig Cyclops. I like the Age of Apocalypse version better, but I do like Cyclops. He is. Well, I like that he has potential.
That's the thing, and like I like all the different iterations of him, and like they just make them out to be like the Boy Scout, and then I think at one point he was just like the worst character ever, and like I think I read somewhere that he like killed Professor X recently. And
that was not so recent, and that wasn't so recent anymore. He that was a while back now, I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you can tell I'm out of comics. I just haven't read like main kind of Marvel DC comics in a while. But yeah, I like Cyclops. I think he's awesome.
You got a lot of love for saying you got a lot of love from the comments saying that you liked Gambit, though they all agree with you.
And Marvel
and then as soon as I mentioned Cyclops, they're like, "Get him off the stream!"
Look at the numbers dropping.
The Cyclops thing, I don't know. It's that thing of at one point he was the Boy Scout, but then he became a much more interesting character because of all of the different iterations he's had. It was that thing with that. He killed Professor X, but whilst he was possessed by the Phoenix Force, because
isn't possessed by the Phoenix Force.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think pretty much everyone's got a bit of the Phoenix Force in them now because, no big spoiler alert, but probably about 15 years ago now, of course, they basically killed off all but how many? 198 mutants. So then it was like it wasn't until Bendis left the X-Men that he brought them all back again. By doing that. So, but yeah,
that's
pretty
crazy.
much everyone's had the Phoenix Force.
But, yeah. During that, it was during X-Men versus Avengers that was, and they decided to give the Phoenix Force to 5 members of the X-Men. And they I don't know if they realized who they were giving it to, but because it became the Phoenix 5, but it was Colossus, Emma Frost, Namor,
oh wow,
Ileana, and Scott. So put their initials together and what you get.
Oh wow.
You get the Penis Force. Or Penis 5.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
Yeah, but then it's one of those weird things that in certain instances in comics where, you know, someone's possessed and it's when it's over everything's fine, like Hal Jordan killing loads of people when he was Parallax, but then Scott kills Professor X, no one else, and he's never to be forgiven again.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I always like a shift in character because it means a costume change. I dig that in comics. I dig it in video games, movies. I love it when you get to see a new outfit. Like Scott's mask at the moment looks like Shredder's. Actually, imagine Shredder's mask. No, not Shredder. Zed from Power Rangers.
Oh, nice! I'll have to check that out.
Without the grates going down the middle, it's just this big red visor that kind of goes down his nose, and it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. That sounds really fun.
And he's currently in a relationship with Jean and Logan. They're in a three-way relationship.
Yeah, I called that. I called that years ago.
Wow. So progressive.
Yeah. You a serious question actually about Asian American and Pacific Islander representation. It's coming a long way. It's I know you've not been reading a lot of this stuff, but it's not a comment really. It's about like you were saying about not being up to date with a lot of stuff. There's a lot of great stuff out there. I mean, I was one of the few people, although as you could probably hopefully tell by us conversing with you, we're not angry white guys angry that our comic books are changing. We love seeing new things, and like when Sarah Pichelli and Bendis started doing Ultimate Spider-Man with Miles, I wasn't, but I was like, I thought it was a gimmick, and I've been reading Miles for ages, and it's had its ups and downs depending on the writers and stuff like that. But there's so much stuff that's just coming out here, coming out and new characters taking on the mantle. I was stoked when Amadeus Cho became Hulk.
Oh, nice.
I was a bit crestfallen when he actually not lost the power, but when he lost the mantle of the Hulk. Because Frank Cho was doing the art for a little bit, and I forget who was writing it at the time. But it was just so good,
Yeah. That's like is he the Hulk that's in Champions?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I thought they call him Chulky or something like that, like Cho Hulk.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I like that Hulk. It's cool.
Yeah, it was different. The way he represents his rage is a big red, like T-bird, and Hulk's in the boot,
Oh, nice.
So, and his sister as well was interesting because she was basically like his tech guy.
Okay. I'll have to give that a read too. I've like really dropped off. I pick up stuff here and there, but I notice, you talk about representation in comics, and like I notice all these different creators really going against the grain and making things, because they're looking for that sort of equality that they might not have been given in real life. So it's nice to see them put that in their own work. Yeah, and I think that's important for sure.
I fear tokenism. I don't like the idea that it's not forced in. I don't. It shouldn't just be there. It's clearly there's a need for it, and there are people there that don't feel represented, and that's fantastic when they finally do. It's great seeing letters pages from people saying, this is my character, this is who, this person looks like me. I always fear that they'll ruin somebody with it, but it's all good at the moment. I think it's all sorts of great stuff coming.
Yeah, and like
the indie scene is great for that as well.
And I think that's what I gravitate towards more kind of indie books and sort of autobiographical books, and just stories about people's lives are always fascinating to me. Yeah. One of the books that got me into making my own comics was there's an artist by the name of Jeffrey Brown. He's actually a teacher here in Chicago too, and he wrote a book about kind of just like him navigating through his 20s and like his love life, and he called it Clumsy, and it was a very popular book by Top Shelf back in the day. And I remember the drawings being very kind of crude in a way, and at that point in my career and in my sort of education in art, I was just kind of like, I just thought that things shouldn't have looked that way, and I didn't understand why it did. And, it was just a matter of like, oh no, that's just his style, and that's how he chooses to represent his drawings and his characters. And so, when I first picked it up, I in a weird way, I was like, oh wow, this counts. Like you could kind of just like really scribble and like just talk about yourself and your life. And like that counts as a comic. And you know, sure enough, that's kind of how I started doing the children's books, the when I was little children's books, because I was like, what do I have to say, or what do I want to talk about? And it was like I found this shoebox of photos from my childhood, and I was looking through the photos, and I was just like, I have no idea, like I don't have any memories of this or recall any of this. So, you know, kind of going through those shoebox of photos really opened me up into that idea of like, oh, I should talk about my childhood because I don't remember it a lot, and maybe through the process of creating something based on it, I can kind of trigger those memories again. And that's kind of how I got my start. So I love when creators, you know, kind of get personal with their work, and it's that the indie scene is really big for that. Sam, how did I do on the Demon Slayer here? Is this the Demon Slayer, or is there a different character?
There are Demon Slayers, but that's Tanjiro. That's one of the two main characters. He's the
oh, okay.
And she's put up some. She's put up some hearts and saying looking awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
But yeah.
Anything else?
No. So we've kept you for over an hour now. So
yeah, we didn't want to keep you any longer.
Oh no. I mean, I've been in a pandemic for the last
it's just
year
good to
and
talk
a half.
to people. Are we therapy right now?
Honestly, it is good to talk to people. So yeah, I appreciate, you know, you guys reaching out, but I can go. I can do one more if you want. I don't know how long your show goes, but
as long as you are comfortable to carry it on. Basically, we had one. I think we had a chat.
What does the audience want?
What would you like, guys?
Yeah, do you want one more, guys?
Do you want to keep drawing, or do we ramp it, or do we end it here?
I think they're thinking now. They're racking their brains.
Yeah, we are on a delay.
Or if you had any art questions you want to swing my way, or
oh yeah,
this has been fun.
Joe Star, somebody recommended previously, and curator Angelus has just mentioned it again.
What is that?
I don't know. I'm having a look now. Sorry, curator Angelus, we're a little bit ignorant.
What was the character?
Joseph Joestar.
Joseph Joestar?
It's from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, yes.
Oh! Joseph Joestar.
And Sam
that's JoJo, right?
It's got to be
It's the lead character. I thought JoJo was called JoJo. I didn't realize his name was Joseph Joestar.
From what? From JoJo's
Bizarre Adventure. It's the main character.
Oh, okay.
I think they realized you work.
Yeah, we did anime. So let's try some. We did anime. We did cartoon. Is there like?
What about
how about a comic character?
How about Cyclops then?
Cyclops? Which version? Oh, Age of Apocalypse. I'll do Age of Apocalypse for Adam here.
So, whilst we got Cyclops coming in now. So,
oh yeah, the long flowy hair, love it.
The badass 90s. Yeah.
So if you join in late, you will be able to see this show going up on YouTube afterwards. We haven't got a fancy /SCGC yet, so help us do that by subscribing to our YouTube channel. But it will be up on a Swansea Comic and Gaming Convention. You can join us in our Discord as well. I'll check that up in the chat. You could come and chat comics and stuff with us there. But yeah, so we're gonna go on to Cyclops, I guess. When we were chatting to Justin last week, he told us to ask you about your interaction with Jock.
My interaction with Jock?
Yeah.
Oh.
The awkward one.
Okay.
You can sanitize it. You can hide your shame a little bit by.
No, he was very lovely. He was at a comic. He was at the Chicago Comic Convention.
Mm-hmm.
C2E2. It's like the big show in Chicago. It's my home show, and he was there with a bevy of people like Scott Snyder and just like kind of big name people in the comics industry. And so I went up to him because I had a table and I was just there, and I went up to him and was like, "Hey, can I look through your?" Because he's like, "I got pieces for sale." I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna own a jock piece." Okay, so I was like, "Let me take a look at it," and he was like, "Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know." And I was like, "Okay." And then I was flipping through it, and like, obviously the work is magnificent, and just kind of like looking through all the different things he had there. And then I stumble upon this Man of Steel piece he did, this Superman piece. And I was like, wow, that, like, I would love to have that on my wall. Of course, this is my internal thought process. Like, I would love to have that in my wall. And like, so I asked him, I said, yeah, this one's really great. And so I asked him, I said, how much for the Man of Steel piece? And he was like, yeah, that's $3,000. And in my head, I had made a bunch of money at my table, and I was like, oh, I'm going to spend some money. And then as soon as he said it was $3,000, I was like, yeah, that definitely is $3,000. And then I just walked away. I didn't know what to do. I was like, yeah, someone's gonna pay $3,000 for that. Not me, but
yeah.
I'm so, and like, he doesn't have his prices listed. I don't, if I recall. So, it was just about having an interaction with him, and he was very humble and like just kind of like really, really sweet, because like I think he knew. He was just like, I'll answer your question, but there's no way you're gonna pony $3,000 for this. And I was like, fair enough. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. I just like took a shot. I was like, maybe he'll see my exhibitor. Maybe he'll see my exhibitor badge and be like, oh, he's a fellow artist.
Maybe he
but
did.
No.
Maybe that was mate rates.
Yeah, right? Maybe he saw that and was like, oh, this dude's got money because he's making money right now. But yeah, it was like $3,000. Like everything in that book, and there's a lot of stuff in there. Everything in that book was like 4 or 5 digits. It was crazy. So like, but yeah, that was my weird interaction. So it was weird for me. I'm sure it wasn't weird for him. I'm sure he gets that all the time. But like, it was weird for me because no, I'm sorry. It was like I felt comfortable, like, and he was very nice. He didn't like blow me off or anything. Like he was engaged with everyone that was at his table, because people were coming up to him and they're like, "Oh my God, we love you," and blah blah blah. And yeah, he took the time to talk to everyone. And like I like stayed there and like looked at the entire portfolio, and he wasn't like trying to rush me. He wasn't like, hurry up, there are more people. He was just like, this is awesome. And he was like, yeah, just if you have any questions, let me know. And that was the one question I had, and I was like, I probably should have just walked away. I shouldn't have asked him how much for the Superman piece. But it was a dope piece too, and I think it was really expensive because it was either a pinup or a cover to something. But yeah. And also keep in mind, I'm just kind of like playing around here. I loosely sketched this, so I'm kind of just like playing around with the watercolor brush. So if it looks weird, I apologize, but I'm just kind of messing around.
I was gonna sing your praises. I dig watching. My family are quite artistic. I'm stoked that my daughter, although I prefer writing, I'm stoked that my daughter is into art. Her mum is great, and it seems to be like her mum. But and I love watching the knowing that the final piece is going to not look different, but I love seeing, like, as you know where to put the colors down, and then you're obviously going to work over them to block them
Yeah.
out. I'm gushing a little bit, but it's really cool.
I mean, here's the little effect you get with the white. See, you can add the little shines and things, and that's one of the reasons why I like drawing on cardboard, is because it really like pops things out.
Yes, Mark Sock was. I guess he still does it when he does physical stuff. He'd always use a mixture of white pens and correction ink, like we call it. I don't know if you have Tipex over there, but we have Tipex pens, white correction pens. And they're the same. You shake up the bottle. There's a little ball bearing inside. Sorry, the pen. The pen is soft plastic. And has a roller ball nib, and you can have super fine ones. I'm not talking like 0.1 or anything like that, but probably 0.5. And if you learn to, because it's about pressure and squeezing the ink at the same time, but when you get the practice, it's a lot like using, I guess, a brush, and that's a pretty useful tool to use as well.
That's awesome.
I was gonna say, like, it came up. He told us to ask you that question because I mentioned a similar interaction I had with S.R. Ribic.
Okay.
So I mentioned it, so like we were at a show and S.R. Ribic was there, and I went over and I was watching him paint, like I'm watching you now basically, and he was painting this Hulk.
Drinking it in.
But he was painting this Hulk for someone, but on the table he had this Psylocke, and as he was, and they were like A3 watercolors and everything, and so as I needed to know.
Yeah, I get it.
I needed to know how much it was. I knew I wouldn't have enough, but I turned around to him and go, "Oh, so how much would a piece like that cost then?" About the Psylocke that was there, and he went, "Make me an offer," and it was like, my head knew straight away. No, do not say a number.
Don't insult this man.
Do not insult this man.
Right. Oh, that's smart of you. I would have, I think from peer pressure or just pressure from him, I would have said something stupid. But wow, make me an offer. That's pretty ballsy.
And so like I just turned around and said to him, "Oh, I would, even if I give you everything in my pocket, it wouldn't be enough." And as I was chatting to him, the guy he was painting the Hulk for came over and to pick up the Hulk, and he went, "Oh, so how much is it? Not how much." And he went, "So 800, yeah." And this is for like it was an amazing piece, but it's basically, it's not been in a comic or anything. That is just
right.
That's just a piece he's done at the convention for him as a commission, and it was like £800, and it was like,
wow.
Oh. So at the time that would have been what, $1,600.
Holy cow!
So like for a convention piece, and it was like, I am so glad I didn't say a price when he asked me to.
Yeah, smart move on your part, and also like, kind of gives you an idea, because let's like imagine if that was a piece that was published in a comic, it would have been more than that for sure.
It was an amazing piece, but yeah, if it'd been like what would you have been working on at the time? Probably Thor with Jason Aaron.
Yeah, probably.
Like the God Butcher stuff would have probably been about then. So like if it had been a piece from that would have probably been like what, 5 times that amount.
I would have brought a checkbook and just gambled. I can put any numbers here.
Yeah, I'll put any number down, but I'm only stopping after 2 zeros.
I can put as many zeros as you want on my check. Just
as
before...
long as the decimal point is,
just in front of the number, so like 0.00000 £10.
I would say I'll put any number you want on here, and then just make up a number, 11-37.
But
exactly.
Sam said I'm never going to financially recover from this. Tiger King it.
Tiger King it.
I've done the same thing a few times.
See this? It's coming out. I think it's looking like it's shaped. That's the thing I like about watercolors is the just like the idea of like it can look as messy as this, but when you really start to kind of manipulate these blocks of color and they really start to form. And I think for me, at least, watercolor is such a forgiving medium because if you feel like you make a mistake, you could either add more paint or add more water.
Yes.
And it can kind of like correct itself. So whenever I work with watercolor, I tend to be very loose with it. And like you saw my initial sketch, it was very blocky. And very loose, very rough. I kind of like figured out the shape with pencil and then just started filling stuff in around it to really kind of form what I was going for. And that's my favorite part of working with watercolor. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just thinking about the thought process. Like, and that's the other thing too. I love talking about the creative process. You know, I have like a YouTube show, or a YouTube channel. I have like a YouTube show, a YouTube channel, and you know, sometimes I'll shoot videos at the convention where I talk to different artists and I just ask them questions about their creative process because to me that is fascinating, and I just love you know kind of hearing how people work because it helps you think about what you would do.
What's the name of the channel? We can put it up in the chat so people can.
My channel name is really weird because it's got so many like slashes in it. But I think if you just search my name, you can find it, Justin Castaneda. But
I will test that theory right now, just so.
Yeah.
And if you find it, you can put the link into the chat for the guys in the chat.
There you go.
I'm not logged in.
All right. So maybe I should look for it. But then I'm streaming, and then if anything goes wrong with mine, we go off air.
Gotcha.
But yeah. So when there's not a pandemic on, what shows do you enjoy doing? Do you do many in a year, or is it limited?
Yeah, I like to travel for some of these. I really just started. See, when you start to add the ink, it looks really cool. Sorry. As far as shows go, I like doing a lot of the Reed Pop shows. So they do like C2E2, they do Emerald City, and you know before before all these got canceled last year, I was going to New York Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And I've done like Baltimore. I've done like Awesome Con in DC, and I mostly stay in the Midwest area. But yeah, I'm open to traveling depending on if I know some people who are going. I think that'll probably change for me. Now that I'm going to be a dad and I probably won't get out as much, which I'm fine with. I'm kind of an extrovert. Or I'm sorry, an introvert. I'm a little introverted, so I don't mind staying at home, and I could use the kid as an excuse as to why I don't want to see people.
I do.
Oh, perfect.
I know. It's obviously it's not maybe an obvious thing, but I think with baby, it'll open up new avenues, new experiences as well, I guess. So if
yeah,
your child is an excuse, like a font of experiences, but I think it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, just being a dad is cool, but
yeah, I'm all the things right now. I'm excited, I'm nervous, so I'm looking forward to it, and I know it'll be a big change, but before the pandemic and before this whole I'm gonna be a dad thing, like I liked traveling. I love the Kentucky show. I don't know how much Sock has talked about it with you, but the Lexington show is always really fun, and I kind of feel like that's my second home, maybe, just because I know so many people there, and the artists there that come out of Lexington, Kentucky are phenomenal, and like really good people, and yeah, it's like kind of home away from home. So I like the Lexington show a lot. So yeah, I think like doing it after so many years, like you just start to just pick the shows that you're going to be successful at, and pick shows that people there and the community there. So I tend to do a lot of the same shows. So my game plan is always to do those same 5 or 6, and then I add a new one, like one I've never been to, and then see how that goes in terms of travel, in terms of finances, how it is, if it's successful for me or not. And then you can't really judge a show by only doing it one time. So I tend to give shows a second chance if the first outing wasn't that great, and then by that time I'll have decided whether or not it's one I want to add to my schedule for the year. So that's kind of how I go about stuff.
It's understandable. I mean,
yeah,
unless you're AAA, big headliner guest.
Right.
You're not a name in yourself, but unless everything's kind of basically covered for you, even then, you're still thinking, is this going to be worth my time? But unless you're a lot of those costs are covered for you, you have to take those things into consideration. Also, as you said, the main one as well is whether you're going to enjoy it or not.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, I think this one's turning out to be the best of the lot.
Yeah, I was trying to say that, and I just saw you put those white lines on. I was like, holy cow! I mean, it was looking great with the black line in, and as soon as you started defining Scott's mouth, I was just like, But no, it's looking so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Really cool. But like, I know what you mean. Like, I've done, like, I used to go around with the book that we did with Sock, and and that was it. It was that thing of trying a show, and I like going to shows. I think I liked going to conventions more to meet other creators.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'd go and chat into people. I enjoy that kind of thing. So. And I would always give something a second chance anyway, because, there's always things that could be happening that is the reason you haven't done particularly well or whatever. But I do miss conventions.
I do too. I think I missed it for those reasons: the camaraderie and getting to know people and things like that. Like, I think this is almost done. Like, I don't feel like I should. I think the minimal black with all this watercolor kind of is like the end here. Mm-hmm. I don't think I need to do more. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah. You put that one next, I'm guessing you've probably done it before. You put that one last stroke and you're like, nope, that's too many.
Yeah, for sure. And some, it's a game of like whether or not you want to play that, right? You want to keep going, and it's like, oh, messed up,
It is. Obviously, you don't need us telling you, but it looks great. It's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I'll fill this in here, and then we'll call this one finished.
So, where can people find you for all the people who have been watching the stream and want to go and see more of your awesome artwork?
Were you able to locate my YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sam,
that's in the chat, and it is in our Discord now. Thanks to Sam. So
thanks, Sam.
And then when
appreciate you, Sam.
And when this goes up onto our YouTube, I'll link the channel there as well.
Okay, so yeah, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. My handle is @WhenYouWereLittle, all lowercase, and it spells with the letter U, not Y-O-U. So it's when letter U were little. That is my main source of social media. And then I actually have, I mentioned it earlier, but I actually have an Instagram account and Twitter account for my horror children's book that I made called The Murder Balloon. And that's at The Murder Balloon. And you can follow that and get like kind of any cool drawings or posts about pertaining to that particular project, which I'm super, super proud of. And it was like a weird one because I think I had done my fair share of kind of kid-friendly content, and I said, well, what would something kind of strange what would be a kind of different project for me? And at the time I was really sort of discovering horror as a genre in terms of movies and comics, and I just kind of really liked it. I never did when I was a kid because I was a scaredy cat. but kind of growing up watching certain movies and kind of really fell in love with the genre through comics, and I was like, I want to make a horror comic. And but then part of me was like, I should still kind of play to my strengths, so I designed the comic to look like a children's picture book, and it's actually pretty violent and
I was
pretty
curious
horrific
about what it was.
Yeah. So yeah, it is about it's called The Murder Balloon, and it's about a balloon that kills people. And it's set up in a way that it plays out like a children's picture book. Mm-hmm. And then there's a point, there's a sort of shift in tone towards the first act of it, and then it turns into this kind of darkly horrific revenge tale about a killer clown and his balloon. And I did a Kickstarter for it, and it got funded, and I did like this really cool hardcover for it, a limited run hardcover, but you could still get the paperback, the soft cover trade at my website, which is whenyouwerelittle.art. So you can go there. I have a lot of the comics and things that I do. I have those for sale, as well as original pages. And I have a bunch of different stuff on there, like stickers. And I'm actually currently having a sticker sale right now, so feel free to check that out. But yeah, whenyouwerelittle.art, and When You Were Little on social media is where you can find me. And then my YouTube channel, which Sam found. So thank you, Sam.
Cool. And Sam's followed as well. So.
Woo! Thank you.
And I've just put up the website into the chat as well, because it is available on all of the stuff that we put up.
So
and I've been following.
This was super fun.
I've been following Justin for about 10 years, so I would highly recommend it. It's always great geek-centric art, and all of his original stuff is great too. So head over to all of the links that he's told you to check out.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate the follow. Man, that give that penis a sandwich cardboard. That's a deep cut. I might have to dig that up and put it on my Instagram stories, and then I'll tag you or something.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. It's just one of those things. It's like I think I was following you before that, and then probably found you through like SOC or something. Early days.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to the podcast, and they said about you, and it was like, I've seen that art.
I know that guy.
Yeah, even though I don't. This is the first time we've actually spoken, but it was like, I know that guy just because I'd seen it on Instagram.
Yeah, that was super wild. Like, I can't believe. I was like, hey, wait a minute. And like, yeah, I think, part of the reason why that. I got a lot of people commenting about that because I went to a live show once when they used to do it at the Improv, and I had this whole plan of like I was gonna put out the email and show them the pictures, and then I was actually gonna give them the physical copies, and I left the physical copies, and I didn't get to take them on the plane with me, but they did read the email. And then they did put up the art on their website. And then, I got a kind of a social media bump from that because people were like, hey, did they just talk about you on Hollywood Babylon? And I was like, yeah, they did. It was pretty crazy. So, yeah, that was super fun. But yeah, I'll dig that up for you, Ricky, and I'll tag you.
It's just one of those random things.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that is. We don't want to keep you any longer than because we're aware that it's like the middle of the afternoon where you are. But,
yeah, it's all good. I mean, it's probably late over there too, right? You guys are you guys night owls?
I'm a vampire. I tend to about have about 4 hours sleep.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
No, I'm a night owl more than a morning person anyway.
Ricky's actually asleep. He's been asleep for about 10 minutes.
No, I'm not. And Sam is saying that Tanjiro is so good that she wants to frame it.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
But
I will put these up on my Instagram and yeah, maybe I'll put them up for sale, but who knows?
But they
just don't ask the price.
What's up?
Just don't ask the price.
Oh yeah. Don't pull a Ricky. Just walk away.
I've done that a few times myself. There was a great. We talked to Justin about this the other last time, and there's an artist, a British artist called John Watson. He was doing free sketches, and he did this.
Yeah.
It was pencil line work and a little bit of color, and he did this outrageously good Power Girl for me, full body, full figure piece. And it was one of those ones like he was like, no, they're free sketches. It's cool. He was selling a bunch of stuff, like some of his painted covers, because he did a lot of the Young Tiny XMen stuff in the 2000s. And where's Ricky going? Bye,
Bear
Ricky.
with me a second.
It's good to speak for a second. And it was one of those ones where I was like, are you sure you don't want me to pay you? You know, I was tempting fate because I knew that would be way beyond my my budget, and he was like, "Nope, it's free." And I was
wow.
Like, I felt guilty. Oh, yes,
so that's my one that I had off him. I had
he did a Moon Knight.
A Moon Knight off him. So.
Oh, nice.
Just to show you
that's
the
awesome.
level that he was doing.
Yeah, that's so sweet. And then, if you want, I know I talked about seeing all the lines, and now I'm erasing them.
I know. It does look great without the lines as well, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
you never know.
I think,
that's the risk.
Right. So I think as an artist, like you'll get to a point where you're like, oh, I think I could clean this up and it'll still look good. So I think because I put a little more pencil work into the eyes here, I wanted to just clean it up a little bit. But yeah,
it's worse than when you put a pencil line down, then you put ink over it, and when you erase it, you realize the ink has been taken away with a pencil line.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm left-handed, so this is the cause of being left-handed. Yeah. You get all of that smearing. So that's why I always say to move the paper and not move your hand, because and I still move the paper and I still get this. So. That's okay though. It's like signs that you did some work.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I get the same.
I'm right-handed, and I look at paint and it's all over me.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would say paint. I would say painting is probably my least favorite thing. Like we had to paint our nursery for the baby, and like I was miserable. I was like, this is not fun. I was like, let me just put some turtles on here or something. Like this is so. Like solid colors, and I had to prime it and all this stuff, and then you had to put the painting tape. So yeah, painting. I don't think I'd be a very good mural artist, but yeah, when it comes to like live art events, I'll definitely throw down because there's a sense of sort of messiness to it. But when I have to paint a wall and a straight line and stuff, I like the cleanup work, like you said, Ricky. Like you think you're as careful as possible, and then like you have paint inside of where, like you have your sock on, then you take your sock off, and then there's paint underneath there. You're like, wait, I had a sock on. Why is there paint on my ankle.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I hate paint. Painting is the worst.
Without being too gross, look forward to that with parenthood, because it'll be everyone says like about manliness, the only true test of manliness is if you can change that really stinky diaper, the nappy, and that one where you think you've got it in control, and you check and you look and you're like, that's all there, and you reach for the diaper, for the nappy, and you come back and it's on the ceiling. The baby's covered in it. That's happened many a time.
Oh man.
Good luck with that.
Thank you. I will. Yeah, it's gonna be like Gallagher, huh?
Yeah.
You can blame Adam for that when you encounter it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I will have a poncho, and I'll have one of those masks that the healthcare workers are wearing with the shield.
Oh yes, yeah. Face shield is necessary.
Yeah, for sure.
But thank you so much for coming on here.
Yes, thank you, Justin.
Yeah, this was fun.
Should check out all of Justin's links and tell him how much you've enjoyed the stream. And you could check out this and all of our other streams up on our YouTube channel. Just look for Swansea Comic and Gaming Convention and give us a subscribe so that we can get YouTube/SCGC. Join us on our Discord and Swansea Comic and Gaming Convention on all of the other social medias. But until next we've got a hobby stream on Wednesday, and we've got a cosplayer and miniature painter, on next week's guest stream. So join us then. Until then, thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you.